Hey, what's up, guys? Here's how to play Hysteria on drums. So after the 4-bar bass intro, we come in with the boom on beat 1, a couple of times in the kick drum, and then flam on 2 and 4. And then if you listen real close, you can hear that Dom's keeping time with his hi-hat foot. And then at the end of the 4th measure, simple snare fill, 4E and with a flam at the beginning. And I think it's a flam. It's hard to tell in the recording, but you can find a drums track only on YouTube. And if you listen to that, I'm pretty sure there's a flam at the beginning of this fill here. So, all right, then we get into the first actual groove here. And we're going to use the left hand to do disco hats, while the right hand is keeping time on the ride cymbal. And it's 4 on the floor. This might be tough at first. So if you're struggling with this, you can break it down in just a couple of steps. And so here's a breakdown for you. Step 1 would be 8ths on the ride, and then quarter notes with both feet. So both feet are coming down together. Now you probably use a different technique with the bass drum pedal than you do with the hi-hat pedal. So your feet might look a little different, but they both land on one. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 is, while keeping both feet going, let's focus on the left hand for a minute. So we take away the ride cymbals, and on the left hand, you can see we have all the ands on the hi-hat, and then 2 and 4 on the snare. Now, because your left foot is already bouncing on the beat, those open hats should happen automatically if your timing's right. If the hi-hat doesn't quite open right, then you won't get those open hats. So you may need to spend some time making sure your left hand and left foot timing matches up. Okay, and if you want to practice the left hand by itself with no feet, it'll sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's step 2. Now, if you can do step 1 and 2 together, then you get the whole groove. Okay, so that's the first groove. And we're going to use that in the intro. Now, after the intro, we're into the verse. The verse groove is also a little complicated. You can see we still have open hats on all the ands, but it's no longer the left hand doing that. So we're going to cross our right hand over and use the right hand on the hi-hats. Okay, again, might be a little complicated at first. Let's check out a breakdown. 3 steps to get you there. So here's a breakdown for the verse groove. Step 1 is play the kick snare pattern and the offbeats on the hi-hat. You could even break that down further and learn and 2 and 3 and 4. It's the same as what your left hand was doing in the first groove, only now we're using, our right hand on the ride cymbal. Hi-hats. And then you can also break that down to where it's the kick snare pattern only. And then you learn to do those together. That's step 1. So already kind of complicated on step 1, but let's look at step 2. Now this is just what your feet are going to be doing once you incorporate your left foot. So left foot's still doing quarter notes. The right foot now has. So you need to look at how your feet are going to work together. Make sure that relationship is comfortable before you move on and put it all together here in step 3. So once you can do step 1, while moving your feet in the step 2 pattern, at the same time, then you get step 3, which is the whole groove all put together. Just like before, if your left foot and your hi-hat hand are matching up, then you'll hear those open hats happen automatically. If you don't hear the open hats, the timing's a little off between your left foot and your hi-hat hand. So that's the verse groove. Simple snare fill at the end of measure 4. Now at the end of measure 8, before we go into the, pre-chorus? No, the chorus. At the end of measure 8, leading us into the chorus, is this epic drum fill right here. Pretty self-explanatory. Your hands are going to go and your bass drum fills in the gaps. Okay, that leads us into the chorus. Chorus groove. Also pretty darn complicated. But not complicated, like beautifully, gracefully rich. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm saying it's not complicated for the sake of being complicated. Dom is so good at crafting these drum parts that just flow. But they're very creative, and they've got a lot of layers. So here's the chorus groove. Oh, you know what? No, we need to incorporate the crash. So normally I've been leaving out the crash when I demonstrate these. I'm going to add the crash because we need to hear this. In the song, it happens every measure. That's the chorus groove. So again, it's a lot to look at on paper, but you can break it down into a few steps. So let's break down the chorus groove. Okay, step one, it's just the kick snare while keeping time on the ride. I don't know if it helps to learn the kick snare without the ride because they kind of depend on each other. So that's step one. Step two, take away the ride cymbal. So I guess you will have to learn the kick snare by itself. Now to see what your left hand is doing, your left hand is playing snare drums, but it's also got the crash on beat one, and then the open hat on the of beat two. So when you close that hi-hat, it's going to come down to 16th note after the open hi-hat, a 2. You can see the open here, and then the close with the foot on beat 3. I'm sorry, a 3. And so that's the only thing that hits on 3 with your in terms of your of pattern 2. Now, once you can do that while keeping the ride from step 1, then you're at step 3. And that's everything together. So there it is. Now you can see the 8th notes on the ride, crash on beat 1, left hand, open hats on the of 2, left hand. You know, you could even keep the left foot bouncing quarter notes if you're used to that already, because the timing works out. If you want. It's not necessary. I'm not even sure he's doing that in the song, but that's just how I would personally play it. Oh, that's actually 8th notes with the foot, isn't it? So anyway, all right, that is the last complex groove to break down in this song. So let's just go over some of the remaining fills that we have. Okay, the end of the first chorus. Here's an epic fill for you. Polyrhythm with the hands. And then the snare kick pattern also creates an interesting rhythm. So it's just a pattern of 3. Snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, front kick, kick. All right, so when you put those together, you get this really awesome combination. Love these clever patterns from Dom, the drummer of Muse. All right, now we're in the interlude, which is, by the way, the same groove as we saw in the intro. So no need to explain that one again. Simple fill at the end. Is that right? Yeah, there we go. And a 4 E and. All right, cool. That's that fill there at the end of the interlude. And then we're back into verse 2. Okay, simple snare fill at the end of bar 4. Awesome badass fill at the end of bar 8. And this is the same fill from the end of the verse 1. Love it when parts come back. A recurring theme also makes it easier to learn. All right. Then we're into the second chorus, pretty much the same as the first chorus. Let's look at the fill coming out of the second chorus. You can use a crash for all those hits, or you can split it up into a China or whatever. Is there a flam there? I wrote one, so maybe I must have heard one in the moment. So there's that rhythm. 1 E, a 2, and a 3 E, and a 4. All right, take some time with that one. It's a fun fill. Okay, then we're in interlude B. Simple 4 on the floor. driving eighths on the crash. Add a more complex kick pattern on the second half. And there's the fill at the end of interlude B. I don't know what that part's really supposed to be called. I'm calling it interlude B. But here's the fill. So it's just a little snippet of the fill at the end of the verse. Okay, then we are into the guitar solo. All right, we're playing the groove from the interlude and the intro. Simple snare fill at the end of bar 4. Awesome epic rock fill at the end of bar 8. I like how that one turns around. You know, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, snare kick, kick, tom kick, snare. Nice little turnaround at the end. Very tasteful. All right. Then we're in the second half of the guitar solo, where we switch to the chorus groove. Simple fill at the end of bar 4. Which is kind of a nod to that previous fill that we did. And then we have a little more involved fill at the end of bar 8. Oh, hang on a second. Didn't do my homework. There we go. 1, a 2, and a 3E, and a 4E. And that little turnaround again with the tom kicks. Adding a crash to that snare. That's a cool little move. Leads nicely into the next section, which is the outro. Okay, for the outro, we're going to take that interlude B theme for 2 bars. Spice up the kick pattern. Spice up the kick pattern some more. Epic fill out. Oh, I did that wrong. We're supposed to have the snare with the floor tom on this first part, and then switch to 2 toms in the very last beat. So here's the outro fill. All right, slow that down. Tom, tom, kick, tom, tom, kick, tom, 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 kick, tom, tom, kick, tom, kick. So I'll specify. I was saying tom the whole time, but I should have been specifying snare. Snare, snare, kick, snare, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, snare, kick, tom, tom, kick, tom, kick. All right, and that is the final fill. All right, guys, this has been How to Play Hysteria by Muse on the drums. Let me know if there's any other songs you want to learn. You can find a playthrough of this. I'll put a link in the description with notation on screen. Full playthrough, notes on screen. You get to see everything. You get to hear everything. And that's on my main channel, so check that out. Guys, I'm a drum teacher by trade. I teach private drum lessons virtually and in person. And if there's any other songs you want to learn, let me know, and I'll give you a breakdown. See you guys.